Hey, mate, got all them bees. We're gonna get those bees. We're gonna get the bees.
I sound like Ben Mendelsohn, not Jason Statham.
Got them bees, mate. You know the bees. We know where the bees are. Them bees, they be buzzing, mate. Look at all them bees.
What's up, Flick fans? Welcome back to the channel. Apparently I have a terrible Jason Statham impression, but you know what? Today we're talking The Beekeeper. No.
Everyone, need your attention, please. I'm gonna burn this place to the ground.
One man's brutal campaign for vengeance takes on national stakes after he is revealed to be a former operative of a powerful and clandestine organization known as the Beekeepers. It's written by Kurt Wimmer, who wrote the Total Recall and Point Break remakes. And Law-Abiding Citizen. I like that one. And it comes to us from David Ayer, who did Fury and End of Watch, movies that I love, but also Bright and Suicide Squad. You know. And if you think this is a movie about a guy who takes care of bees...
No, not this time. It's totally made up. Pure fiction.
This is a classic Jason Statham or Liam Neeson or whoever you want to throw in their action vehicle, because the second you see him at the beginning, he's just mild-mannered, calm, and collecting bees and taking care of them. You're like, that's not well. He's gonna kick some ace. Movie's also rated R for strong violence, pervasive language, sexual references, and drug use. You see at the beginning the type of guy that he is, and he's kind of looking after someone who means a lot to him. He shows that in a very interesting way, in a very vengeful way, but the opening sequence shows us someone who is being taken advantage of by this company who's sending you a bunch of pop-ups, and they're like, hey, if you want to protect your bank account, you're going to have to type in this information. Thanks for your support, kids. Be sure to leave your mom's credit card number and don't forget those 3 digits on the back.
Now, this is epic.
And that opening is like, yeah, it doesn't seem very believable, but it happens all the time. It's very easy to be taken advantage of on the internet, especially like my grandparents. She'll ask me questions, my grandma sometimes, and I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't do that, but it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. So while the opening was semi-unrealistic in the way that it's executed and the over-the-top villainous side of things, the company with everybody sitting there, they're all cheering and clapping, and woohoo, we're taking advantage of somebody, that's a little over the top, but I'm sure there are people like that. Scum of the earth type people. Bastards.
What's your profanity?
And so Jason Statham, Adam Clay, the Beekeeper, he says, well, we're going to do the thing. What's the thing? The thing is I go around and I get my revenge, and a couple of other characters' revenge in here as well, because Agent Veronica Parker, who is one of the main characters in this movie, it was actually her mom who was taken advantage of, and the tragedy that happens there, and even though they're kind of making jokes about a little bit later on in the movie, we'll talk about the dialogue here in just a second, it is part of her vengeance as well, even though at the same time she has to do the right thing, and that's be the agent that she signed up to be. Jeremy Irons is in this movie, which is funny because I've heard him before talk about how he doesn't want to sign up for these stupid big blockbusters, but at the same time he's in The Beekeeper. But you also have Josh Hutcherson, who plays this kind of punk kid whose parents, they're in the political space, and the person with him, that be Jeremy Irons, knows all about who the Beekeepers are, what their mission is going to entail in this film, and you have the kid who's like, yeah, I'm not afraid of John Wick, I mean the Beekeeper. It's very similar, and I hate to be that guy who compares every action movie you see to John Wick, because it's almost holding something to such a high standard, and it will make that film worse if you approach it in that way. So I don't like approaching action movies in that way. But it's hard not to make that comparison, because you look at the opening, the lore that is established, the legend of this guy, how people fear him, but others who are of the younger generation do not. They do something to piss him off. He goes out for revenge, and he's kind of sitting back going, Hutcherson's character, like, whatever, dude. Come on. Now, it goes off in a different direction after that, and the film is much different in the second half. But the way that they start this, it does feel very familiar, which is fine. I'm going to try to judge it on its own merits. But you also have a plot that gives us so much potential for a bigger world, the legend of these beekeepers, and lore that they don't really explore. A lot of it is just surface level. A lot of exposition, really poor writing, really dumb writing. Characters will do and say things that do not make sense whatsoever in context of the situation, and at times it's really gritty and very serious, but at other times they say stupid things that make no sense. Like right after something tragic happens to her family, some guy's joking around where they're like, hey, you like fires? Because your mom's house is on fire. And she doesn't even get mad. She's like, okay, well, let's go. I'd be like, dude, what is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
And then they get there and everything's burnt down and all she has to say is, well, I lost my virginity in that barn.
What the hell?
It's like they're trying to go for a joke, a laugh-filled moment at the worst possible time when there needs to be. And, you know, I say this all the time. We don't want to get overly serious with a movie like this because it's Jason Statham being over the top. But when your mom's house burns down, that's not really a time for a character to joke. I lost my virginity in that barn. It also escalates really fast and wraps up super quick. It's like they're trying to build this legend of the Beekeepers, and we get a little bit of that, but you turn your head, and we're in the final action sequence, and it's like, oh my God, no, this is a big deal because we've moved our way up to the White House, and a lot of things are going down to where you should feel the weight of the stakes, but I never necessarily felt that. Now, were the action sequences really fun? Yeah. Because it's Jason Statham kicking so much booty.
So, you like kicking butts, do ya?
Fight sequences, a little choppy, the editing is not the best, but you get the great choreography, and one action sequence in particular where he's taking on someone who has kind of built up that legend earlier on in the movie, and that was really entertaining, really satisfying, and a couple of things that happened towards the end of the movie to where I'm like, yeah, I believe the legend surrounding this guy. He's terrifying. Do I want to know a little bit more about him? I appreciate the mystery, but maybe you could just give me some sort of context as to where he came from. But this movie, in a way, serves its purpose because it provides a plot simple enough for everybody to understand, not really care about all that much, side characters to where there are stakes, even though they joke around about it every now and then, but they're interesting enough. They're not the worst written characters I've ever seen, and an ending that is satisfying. Now it wraps up really fast, and I mean, the movie's over before you know it. I'm like, wow, okay, we're done. Let's go. I'll say this, it does kind of feel like a 90s action movie, and that's the perfect vehicle for Jason Statham in January. I mean, the perfect vehicle. Before I give you my score, what's the best Jason Statham-led action movie? Leave that down below if you want to support this channel. Dropping a like would be the best way to do it. I appreciate y'all for being here, and stay tuned. Plenty more reviews this weekend. The Beekeeper is the right vehicle for Jason Statham to do Jason Statham things. It will serve as an action fix for many, even if the story is paper thin. There are opportunities for this interesting lore to be explored, but the script never capitalizes. It's simple and silly, but it's fun. It's fine. And that's kind of what you want in an action movie in January starring Jason Statham. Does it make up for Expend4bles or Meg 2 last year? Well, it's going to take a lot for me to forgive Jason Statham for that. But this is not bad. And in terms of David Ayer movies, it's one of his better films. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.